Hello everyone, welcome to today's class. Today in 7th standard science we are going to learn chapter 1. Chapter name is The Living World Adaptation and Classification. So in this chapter we are going to discuss about the living world. So the living world refers to the plants, animals that we see in our surrounding. There are different kinds of plants and types of animals. So the surrounding in which we live refer to the living world. The adaptation and classification. Adaptation means changes and classification. So on basis of the adaptation we classify these animals. So we in different kind of surrounding we see certain type of plants in certain type of surrounding and also animals. So we classify how we classify these animals and plants depending upon their adaptation. We are going to discuss that in this chapter. So adaptation is the process of change by which organisms adjust to their surroundings. So we classify animals according to the adaptation, animals and plants according to the adaptations or changes they have acquired. So in the image you can see snowy region and desert region, and from the picture we can clearly identify the changes in the surroundings of a snowy region. The type of soil or ground is fully covered with snow in snowy region, and that of desert region is sand. Desert is fully covered with a large amount of sand. And the type of trees, they are short shrub, thorny type trees we can see in desert region, and snowy region we can see large trees which usually looks dry. And the type of animals in desert region is their body is fully covered with fur, and we can see camel type of animals in desert region. So these are the differences between two type of region surroundings, and the changes we can also identify changes in the animals and plants in two type of regions. So the living world adaptations and classification. So a great variety of plants is found on the earth. You have seen a great variety of plants in this earth, in our surrounding, in our environment. Some plants have colorful flowers. Also you have seen a different variety of colorful flowers. Some plants grow in water and some are to be found in desert. So we have seen plants like lotus grow in water, and some are found to be in deserts which have scarcity of water. Means plants also grow in desert where there is no enough water. So what is adaptation? So gradual changes occurring in the body parts, also in the behavior of organism. So adaptation is a gradual change occurring in the body and also in the behavior of organism which help them to adjust to their surroundings. So this is the important. So the changes which help the organism to adjust to a surrounding, that is the definition of adaptation. So the adaptation is simply the changes which help organisms to adjust to their surroundings. So the changes occur in body parts and also in behavior. Such changes are called adaptation. Adaptation takes place over a long period of time. So adaptation doesn't happen at sudden, it takes place at long period of time. Adaptation occurs. So adaptation is a process which enables organisms to adjust to their environment in order to ensure their survival. So in the image you can see a bear in a snowy region. So the body of bear is fully covered with fur so as to withstand the temperature at there. So there will be -°C temperature, very cool there. So to withstand that atmosphere, the body of a bear is fully covered with fur. And that of next case is that of a penguin. Penguin live in polar region like Antarctica. Penguin can be seen. So the body of penguin is adapted to withstand the temperature, the -°C temperature at a polar region like Antarctica, where there is only snow. And you can see a snake. Snake can be seen in sand region. Also in forest or grasslands we can see snakes live in ground, and they are adapted to live in holes in the ground and to find food at that places. So snakes are adapted to live in its conditions. So adaptation is the process by which organisms adjust to their environment in order to survive. So the classification means the arranging or grouping organisms based on similarities. So we classify the animals means we group or arrange. We group together a particular kind of organism based on the similarities in between them. So to classify animals based on habit, food, and identify their adaptation. So there are the adaptation in plants are in aquatic plants, aquatic type of plants, and in desert plants. You can see desert plants, thorny type of plants can be seen in desert, and also snowy region, tall plants can be seen in snowy region, and also the forest region. We can see thick greeneries in forest region. So these are the 4 types of adaptation in plants. So forest region, snowy region, the desert plants, and the aquatic plants. So we are going to discuss about the adaptation of plants which live in water, that is aquatic plants. So the examples of aquatic plants can be seen lotus, and in the image you can see in the image that some of the aquatic plants are fully covered under the water. Their leaves, root, stem, everything is under the water, and some of the aquatic plants are floating in the water. You can see they are completely floating in the water, and some of the aquatic plants only their roots and stems are under. The roots are on the soil, and their stems are under the water. Leaves and flowers, that is the case of lotus. Leaves and flowers are on the top of the above the water, and some aquatic plants are like they have stem under the water, but they doesn't have a root connection to the soil. They float, and their leaves are above the water. So the main adaptation means change that occurred to the aquatic plant is the surface of the leaves and stem of many aquatic plants are covered with a waxy layer. The leaves of some aquatic plants are thin and slender like a ribbon. So the surface of, you can see as in the image, surface of aquatic plant leaves is covered with a waxy layer. Can see in the image, and leaves of some aquatic plants are thin and slender like a ribbon. You can see in this image, thin and slender like ribbon. That type of leaves they have. This shape helps them to withstand fast currents of water. There will be fast currents of moving wave like water, moving water. So to withstand that movements, fast movements, currents in water, they have such thin slender leaves. Air spaces in stems and petioles of aquatic plants are useful for floating in water. Air spaces means when we cut the stem of an aquatic plant, cut the stem, you can see the holes, spaces, empty spaces in the stem. So the empty air spaces, that are air spaces in stems. So they are useful for floating in water. So the main adaptation in aquatic plant is waxy layer covered over the surface of leaves, and air spaces, you can see air spaces in the stems. So these two are the major adaptation or change occurred to the aquatic plants. Next we are moving with the adaptation in desert plants. You can see the image of different desert plants. You can see thorns. They are fully covered with the thorns, and they have very short, thorny short type of plants can be seen in the desert region. Desert plants are like small needles or thorns. Leaves. So the leaves of the desert plants, they actually have leaves, but they are modified as thorns. So desert plants, you cannot see greenery full of leaves like in forest. You cannot see such kind of leaves in desert plants because their leaves are modified or adapted, changed as thorns. So these thorns are the leaves of the desert plants. So they lose very little water by evaporation. So to save them from losing of water by evaporation, the leaves of the desert plants are modified as thorns, so they do not lose any water on sunlight by evaporation. And also the stems store water and food. So the water and food of the desert plants are stored on their stem. The stems perform photosynthesis in the absence of leaves. So they have thorns, they do not have leaves. The photosynthesis is performed on the stems. As in the opposite case, usually the leaves perform the photosynthesis, but in case of desert plants, the stem perform the process of photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the making of food for the plants, which is done usually by leaves, but in desert plants, stems do the process because of the absence of leaves, means they don't have leaves. The roots spread deep away into the soil in search of water. So the desert plant usually doesn't get water, so in search of water the roots go deep into the soil of the desert plant. There is a thick layer of waxy substance on the stems of these plants. So thick layer of waxy substance is also present in the stem of these desert plants. Next we are going with adaptation. So we have seen adaptation of snowy region, we have seen the adaptation desert plant, in aquatic plant. Next we are going with the third, that is snowy region. You can see snowy region, they have long, tall, slender type of trees can be seen in snowy region, and you can see also the special type or the shape of this plant. You can see conical shape, means like a triangle, conical shape these plants have. These trees are conical in shape. Conical means like a triangle. You can see this shape is for due to sloping branches. Sloping branches means in heavy snowfall and extreme cold, this region conical shapes prevent the snow from accumulating on the tree. So the snow which fall on this tree need to be fell down on the ground easily. For that these plants have this kind of shape, so that the snow float easily from the tree to the ground. Thick barks help the tree to withstand the cold. You can see they usually have, the snowy region plants have a thick bark. Bark means the stem will be very thick, that is in order to withstand the high temperature, cold on that region. Lower temperature in that region. The examples of plants in snowy region are deodar and pine. So these deodar and pine type of plants can be seen in snowy region. We are going with the next adaptation is forest region. So adaptation in plants of forest region. So we have all seen forest around us. A variety of plants like trees, shrubs, herbs are found in forests. Herbs means the plants which have medicinal use, we use as medicine, and shrubs means which doesn't have much height, short type of plants that we see, that is shrub. And trees means the plants which have very large height, and these plants compete among themselves for sunlight, so they have thick, you can see in the image the plants grow thick in the forest. For why they are growing thick, without in between they do not have any space, they grow in thick like competition they grow. It is because in search of sunlight, to get sunlight these plants are growing in thick and in huge amount of height. Hence the trees grows tall to get sunlight, and climbers and vines grow to great height with support of trees. Climbers means the plants which grow, the type of climbers, the leaves that grow on trees, and they grow to a great height to support of trees. And spring like tendrils on the stems of some climbers is an example of adaptation. Tendrils means, you can see in the image, you can see so many thin growings of plants and leaves can be seen on trees. That is, they are like adapters, they grow on like parasites, they grow on other plants and trees. So these are the type of plants seen in forest region. So the main adaptation in forest region is they grow in tall in height to get sunlight, and they have spring like tendrils. So these all are the adaptation in forest region. Now we are going with the adaptation in grassland. Grassland, you have seen grassland. Grassland, they doesn't have a thick vegetation. The diverse type of bushes and grasses are found in the grassland. Bushes means small, without height, small type of plants can be seen in grassland. And fibrous roots of grass prevent soil erosion. Fibrous, you can see spreading type of roots can be seen in grassland. So this is for what purpose they have fibrous roots. Fibrous root is for to prevent from soil erosion. And animals like tiger, elephant, deer can remain hidden in these grasses. So the animals like tiger, elephants and deer remain hidden in the grasses in grassland plants. Animals like rabbit are found in such grasses. So rabbits can be seen in between the grasses. And vast meadows are found in hilly area as well as plain. Vast meadows means the hill-like region without any trees. They are fully covered only with grasslands. So these type of regions are found in hilly areas as well as in plain. So this is the adaptation in grassland. So the main adaptation is fibrous roots and bushes type of plants and grasses can be found in grassland. So we are going with the last topic in the adaptation of plants, that is ingestion of food in plants. So it is mainly about the parasitic plants and plants which cannot perform photosynthesis. So the plants which cannot perform photosynthesis, how they get food. So the plants like deodar, cuscuta are parasitic. Parasitic means they depend on or they feed on other plants to live. It is leafless. You can see it is leafless and cannot perform photosynthesis. So they they don't have leaves, so they cannot perform photosynthesis. It has hostorial sucking roots for absorbing nutrients from the host plant. So they do not produce food on their own, but they absorb the nutrient from a host plant. Host plant means the plant on which they grow. So they absorb by sucking the nutrients through the roots of a host plant. The next case is the fungi. Fungi, you can see the funguses that obtain from starchy foodstuffs like bakri and bread. You can see green fungi grow on that. They are also parasitic. The next case is of the Drosera, Venus flytrap. Venus flytrap, pitcher plant, etc. fulfill their need for nitrogen by consuming insects. So they consume insects means they are heterotrophic. They don't have leaves, so the adaptation are seen in this plant which serve to attract insect and hold them captive. So the pitcher plant and Venus flytrap. So these are two important plants. Pitcher plant and Venus flytrap, they consume the insects. By attracting the insects, they consume them and get their nitrogen. So we are discussing about the carnivorous plants. Carnivorous plants means they get their food by trapping and consuming animals, mainly insects. Small insects, they attract them and consume that animals. You can see the pictures of Venus flytrap and pitcher plant. Venus flytrap, monkey cap, sundew, cobra lily. This is cobra lily. They all attract insect and then consume them because they eat bugs. They can live in areas with poor soil. Next we are going with the adaptation of animals. So adaptation in plants have ended here. So we are going to discuss about the adaptation or changes in animals. So there are amphibious animals, aerial animals and terrestrial animals. Amphibious means animals that live underwater, and aerial animals means flying type of animals, and terrestrial means that live on ground and forest. So we are going to discuss about the adaptation. Adaptation in aquatic animals or marine adaptations. So the body tapers towards both its ends like a spindle. Fish breathe with gills instead of nose. You can see the fishes have gills. You can see gills in the fishes. So the fish breathe using gills instead of a nose. Their eyes have transparent eyelids. So they have a transparent eyelids so that they have vision even if they have closed the eyes. They have air bladders within the body to help them to float. So air bladders help them to float in water. Fishes have scales on the skin and fins on the body. So you can see scales and scales can be seen, and fins, you can see fins on the body of fishes. Fins, you can see these are the fins of a fish, and scales are present on the body of the fish. So these all help adapt in fishes to live under the water. And also they have air bladders, so they can float under the water. So these are the adaptation in animal. Also this streamlined body means the shape of the body. We see the shape of the body of a fish is like spindle like shape. So streamlined body help them to move easily in water. So these are the adaptation in aquatic animals. So now we are going to discuss about the general adaptation in different kind of animals. As frog and duck have webbed toes, they can use their legs like oars. You can see the type of legs seen in frogs and ducks. Webbed means they have type of network like toes in between fingers. So they use their legs like oars to swim in water, and water flows of the waxy feathers of birds like duck and water hen. So the feathers of duck and water hen have a waxy layer. So the webbed toes, slippery smooth skin and triangular head help frogs to swim easily through water. So how the frogs swim in water? Frogs swim using their slippery and smooth skin and webbed toes. You can see webbed toes and a triangular head. You can see the shape of the head of a frog. So the triangular head help the frog to swim easily in water. And in case of ducks, they have a waxy feathers help them to swim easily in water. And also webbed toes can be seen in case of duck. And also the frog can live on land as well as in water due to their ability to breathe through their skin in water. So in underwater, frogs breathe through their skin. So and using the nose and lungs they breathe in on the land. So frogs live in land as well as in water. In water they breathe using their skin, and in land they use their nose and lungs. The typical colors of a frog's back help it to hide among the grasses. So the green typical color, the green brown like color of frogs help them to hide among the grasses. Next we are going with the adaptation in forest and grasslands. In case of animals, adaptation in forest and grasslands we have discussed in case of plants, but here we are going to discuss about the animals. So the carnivorous animals like wild dog, fox, tiger, lion can be seen in a forest. Carnivorous means they eat other animals. And they have strong legs to run fast. So the animals like fox, tiger and lion have strong legs to capture, strong legs which they use to run faster to capture their prey. They have claws and their canine teeth. You can see the teeth of a lion. They have canine teeth which are very sharp and pointed. So these all help them to catch prey. Strong legs, claws and canine teeth. Tigers have padded paws. Padded paws means you can wash the leg of the tiger. So it have a different shape, and also it is padded from the under, so that they can move without making any noise. It helps them to spot their prey from long distances. The eyes of a herbivorous are on either side of the head. Herbivorous means animals that eat vegetation. Like deer, they eat only vegetation, plants. So they have eyes on the either side of their head, so which gives them wide angle vision, so they can run away, protect themselves from predators like lion, tiger, fox, etc. So we have discussed carnivorous animals and herbivorous animals in case of forest and grassland. So herbivorous animals have wide angle vision, the eyes are on both sides of their head, and the carnivorous animals have canine teeth, strong legs, and they have claws and padded paws in case of tiger, which help them to move faster. Next we are going with the grassland. So what are the different types of animals seen in grassland? You can see in the image zebra, elephant, hippos, rhinos, giraffes, lion and tiger. So the legs are long, tapering with strong hooves, which enable them to run fast, taking long leaps. So they have a strong hooves like legs, which help them to run fast, taking long steps. Long leaps means to cover more distances. Their long and freely moving ears can receive sounds from long distances. You can see in case of elephant, they have long ears, freely moving ears, so they can hear sound from different directions and distances. Deer and blackbacks have colors that merge with their surrounding. Deer and blackbacks have color. Their body color is usually brown or brown, dark colors that merge with their surroundings so that they can hide from the predators. Their teeth are strong for chewing tough plant material. So the teeth of the herbivorous animals like deer are strong for chewing tough plant material. Next we are going with the adaptation in desert animals. So the desert animals are camel, kangaroo, rat, phoenix, fox. So this body of these animals can tolerate high temperature because they are adapted to live in the desert region. Their body can tolerate high temperature. The desert are characterized by severe scarcity of water, so they will have to suffer the scarcity of water, so they are adapted to live in such condition. Camels, kangaroo rat and fennec fox. Hence the desert animals have a thick skin to prevent the loss of water from the body. So they don't get enough water in desert region, so their skins are like very thick to prevent the loss of water from the body. Their legs are long with flat cushioned soles. So they have a flat cushioned soles. Their legs are long. You can see the long legs of a camel, and flat cushioned soles means they have under their leg they have a cushioned sole. So that they can move in hot temperature in desert through hot sand. The eyelashes are long and thick. Their eyelashes are long and thick, so that they can protect their eyes from sand in wind. Rats, snakes, spiders, lizards, these are the animals which live in desert. They live in deep burrows during daytime and are active at night. So you can also see rats, snakes, spiders and lizards in the desert, but they are active only at night. At daytime they live in deep burrows. So these are the adaptation in desert animal. They are adapted to withstand high temperature. Their skin are very thick so that they can prevent loss of water, and they have eyelashes are long and thick so that they can prevent their eyes from the sand. Next we are going with the adaptation in aerial animals. Aerial animals means animals which mostly live in the air, which can fly, like birds, like bats and animal birds. Bats are some animals. The spindle shaped body of birds also minimizes the resistance of air while flying. Resistance means they can fly easily without any resistance to their movement. So the shape of the birds are like a spindle, so that they can move easily in air. With high speed the birds fly. With hollow bones, a body covering of feathers. So the body of birds are fully covered with feathers that help them to fly fast. And hollow bones means you can see the bones of a birds are very light because they doesn't have anything. They have cavity, doesn't have anything inside their bones. They are hollow bones. And the modification of forelegs into wings. So the forelegs of the birds are modified as wings. So the birds have wings on two sides. So they are modification, so that they are adapted to fly in air. Their body is light in weight because they have hollow bones, so that they doesn't have large weight. They are adapted for flying. They can fly with 2 pairs of wings, also walk with 6 stick-like legs. Bats can fly with the help of patagium, a thin fold of skin between their forelegs and hind legs. Okay, you have seen the wings of a bat. So actually they are a thin fold of skin between forelegs and hind legs. So that helps them to patagia. The name of the wing-like structure in bat is patagium. So patagium is the lobe that covers wing joint in many in bats. So these are the adaptation in aerial animals: hollow bones and bodies covered with feathers, and forelegs are modified into wings. Their body is lightweight, so they can move easily in air. So these are the adaptation for flying in aerial animals. Next we are going with the adaptation in reptiles. So reptiles, you can see the different kind of reptiles in this image. Snake is a reptile, lizards, earthworms, different types of lizards you can see. So these are all the examples of reptiles. Reptiles means they live in soil. You can see the animals like house lizard, garden lizard, crocodile use their muscles for creeping. Means they creep in the soil, move in the fully in soil. So that kind of animals are reptiles. Similarly, they show adaptation in skin. They have a different type of skin. The adaptation in reptiles are their skin are like easy to move in the soil. Soles of feet, body color, etc. The body color is very similar to that of the soil or ground in case of reptile. And the soles of feet, they have soles under their feet. So these all are the adaptation reptiles. The house lizard and monitor lizards have clawed toes. Means clawed means they can like you have seen in the tigers and lions, they have clawed toes to catch prey, and thin soles, whereas snake have a scaly skin. Snake is a reptile. Snake have a scaly skin. So these are the adaptation in reptiles. We are going with the adaptation for food in animals. So for the need of food, the food they consume, we have different kind of adaptation in animals. We can categorize animals as herbivores and carnivores. Herbivores consume vegetation and carnivores consume other animals. Special adaptations are seen in each category to make the process of feeding easy. So there are special kind of adaptations seen in each category of animals, so they feed easily. We are going with the next topic, that is adaptation for blending with the surrounding. Blending with surrounding means you can see how a snake hide in between grass or under the soil. The color adaptation that helps an animal blend into its surrounding is called the camouflage. You can see how the skin of a frog looks similar to that of its surrounding in which they sit. You can see this is a frog, but it is difficult to identify the frog as it looks similar to its surrounding in which they sit. So that type of color adaptation, the change in its color to similar to its surrounding, is called a camouflage. We cannot easily spot colorful butterfly, lizards and grasshoppers. So colorful butterflies which look similar, almost similar to their surrounding, like brown in color, we cannot easily spot them. Also lizards and grasshoppers. So when the grasshopper sits in between plants and leaves, it is very hard to identify the grasshopper. So they get camouflaged amidst grasses, parts of plants like stem. So some snakes sit in the stems of a plant, but we cannot identify them at the first sight. So that is an example of camouflage. That is because their colors blend with those of their surroundings. So the camouflage happens because the colors blend with those of their surrounding. So now we are going to discuss about the evolution theory of Darwin. Charles Darwin is a great scientist. So how evolution means the changes, gradual changes occurring to the animals, plants are called the changes occurred in between ages. So there are a great changes that have occurred to animals in ages, in centuries. So that is evolution. So Darwin's theory of evolution we are going to discuss. Charles Darwin, a biologist, studied numerous types of plants and animals, and that only those organisms are likely to survive which can adapt best themselves to a changing environment. So this is the theory of survival of the fittest. So this is just for your information. This is not to be by hearted. So the theory of survival of fittest, this is the name of the theory of survival of fittest. What the theory states that the only those organisms are likely to survive which can at best adapt themselves to a changing environment. So the changes that occur in centuries, in ages, so the animals which are likely to survive means they adjust to that changes, changes in temperature, changes in the water, changes in the food. So those animals which withstand these changes are able to survive. Others will die which cannot adjust to the changes in the atmosphere, water, air, etc. So the theory of survival of the fittest is only those organisms are likely to survive which can best adapt themselves to a changing environment. So this is Darwin's first principle, the theory of survival of the fittest. So this is for your general information. So next we are going with the classification of living organisms. So different scientists have used different criteria independently for classifying plants and animals. So classify means to organize group organism on the basis of similarities they show. So binomial nomenclature by Carl Linnaeus. So binomial nomenclature means naming. Scientific name is given to plants and animals. So who found the binomial nomenclature? Carl Linnaeus. A scientific name has been assigned to each organism. You can see a dog, cow, hibiscus, jowar. So everything, all the organisms and plants have a specific scientific name. So that scientific name has been assigned to each organism. The scientific name consists of the two parts. First part is genus and second is species. Scientific name contains two parts. So the first part is genus name and the second is the species. Genus means certain category in the classification of living organisms. So the first part goes for the genus and the next goes with the species. So the scientific name of a dog is Canis lupus familiaris. So this is the scientific name of dog, and scientific name of cow, hibiscus and jowar are given. So this is the binomial nomenclature, means assigning scientific name to each organism.